Well, thank you to Richie Floyd for joining us. Richie's running for City Council District 8 in August. We're going to jump right to the questions, Richie. First question is on the Rays. How do you envision the city's role in financing a potential multi-purpose sports complex that would include a home for the Rays?
Yeah, so I guess when it comes to, the city's role in financing this, I think we've gone through the request for proposal process that's let people know, that's let people come to us and ask us how much they need. And so we've got a couple of options down now. I'm not sure if we're wedded to them or not, but I think it's going to be up to the developer to bring the role to us. When it comes to actually funding a stadium for the Rays, I think there's little appetite for it in the taxpayers as a whole. And I'm not really interested in fronting the cost that subsidizes a private enterprise. But if it's something that's owned by the city, it's something that returns value to the city, if it's something that allows us to get money back into the taxpayer's pocket through multiple uses, that's a different conversation than just buying a stadium for a baseball team. And so I think that a lot of people would be open to it. I'd be open to figuring out, what's going to bring us back the most value, because I think what everybody thinks right now is how do we make the most value for St. Petersburg out of this deal that we're about to do? And and for me personally, it's how are we going to get the most value for, our existing residents, our working people, and the people who were displaced in the first place. And so any deal that gets the most value for those people and for the city as a whole is a deal that I'm going to get behind.
Okay, let me follow up on that just for a quick second, kind of going into the Trop site as a whole. Would you be willing to allow the Rays to develop a portion of the Trop site to help fund a sports complex? Like right now they have 50% development rights, but just give them like 100% development rights of a small area in addition to the stadium.
In addition to the stadium?
Well, and like adjacent to the stadium. Like if they wanted to build a hotel there or something like that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And they would use those monies, that revenue to help fund the stadium.
I mean, it's kind of speculative because I don't know the terms of the deal. Like,
right.
If we don't know the terms of the deal, like I can't tell you.
But you're not against it on spec.
No, I'm not going to just outright say no to a lot of things because what I want to see is, and this is the thing that I've been saying over and over again, is when it comes to the Trop site, what I want to see is hard numbers about how those things are going to benefit the community and how we're going to hold people accountable if they don't actually benefit the community. Because, promises are what was made last time, but I want guarantees this time, and I want, penalties for if those guarantees are not met.
Gotcha. All right, let me shift to education. How should the city of St. Petersburg work to make St. Pete the best city for education in the country?
Yeah, I really appreciate the questions about education. I have an educational background. I'm a public school teacher, and I don't think the city's done enough to be involved in the education of young people in the city. So I'm excited about plans that are out there about making St. Petersburg College free for St. Pete residents, or pre-K free for residents. I'm excited about plans like that. But where I'm coming from, whenever I want to help education is two things. First is that, I've seen what it's like inside the public schools. If we don't have stable economic conditions, stable housing, food on the table for our students, then they're not going to be learning anything in the classroom. And I think that's where the city can have the biggest impact is providing more economic opportunity to people through jobs programs, providing more economic opportunity through more stable and affordable housing, which I'm sure we'll get to in a minute. Yeah, but those are things that we can really focus on to try to, help people's lives be easier in the first place. And, when we talk about poverty, child poverty is a lot bigger than adult poverty because if you have a lot of kids, it's difficult to have enough money to take care of all of them. So that's the first thing that I'll look to do when it comes to education. And I think it's important and maybe not looked at through an educational lens. But secondly, I think the city can partner with the school district a lot better on things. The partnership's been minimal. I don't want to say non-existent, but minimal so far. We could have, better after school programs that tie right into the school district, transportation of those after school programs, extended hours at places like libraries, places where you can let kids, learn a little bit, but also have time to socialize and stuff, because socializing is a really important part of school. And I'll say again, as a teacher, they don't get enough time to socialize in the classroom right now. The state's mandated a lot of testing and a lot of, rigorous study time. And it's important that kids get time to socialize with each other. And so, yeah, so like, I think the city can do more, like to expand after school programs, summer programs. There's mentorship opportunities as well that we can plug into. And so I'll look for the city to, be more of a partner with the district on those things, as well as, raise people's, economic expectations.
Gotcha. All right. Well, and you mentioned it. We are going to ask about affordable housing next. How can the city ensure a supply of housing that is affordable for hospitality workers, teachers, and first responders, as well as those making between 80 and 120% AMI?
Yeah, so I think a multi-pronged approach is necessary. Because you mentioned working people, we also have homeless people in the city, and so it's going to take like a tiered approach. And I think that's best thought about. We start at the bottom is like we have homeless services and social services, but they're kind of like a disparate like smattering of services right now. Like we need them to be more connected, and the city has the resources to be that link between between resources, so that we can better make sure that we're not letting people fall through the cracks. We can see where there's gaps in our services, and we can create and plug those gaps, and we can start to look into taking a housing first approach that benefits people immediately and gets a roof over their heads, so that way the things that are hard get a lot easier then. So that's for homelessness. And then for low income people, we have to start looking at ways we can take housing, certain parts of housing out of the market. And we already do that to an extent. We do it with our public housing in the city, and our community land trusts. These are things that keep housing permanently affordable for low income people, and provide people with a place to rent if they don't want to buy, and if they want to buy, a place they can buy, like in a community land trust. And if we can expand those options, we can start to create stability for those on low incomes, that and invest in these massively, that create permanently affordable housing options, places where you can gain a little bit of equity if you want, or places where you can just rent if you don't want to have that responsibility. And these things should be self-sustaining. As people get in them, they have to pay for them, but they stay permanently affordable. And then finally, so that I don't go on too long, I'll say, for people who are a little more affluent, like you were talking about, people around like workforce housing, like people 80 to 120% of AMI, we can, some of those services will help them as well. But, we also can look at the zoning things that have been talked about in the city, upzoning in certain places. Now we have to do it. We have to make sure we're protecting the character of our neighborhoods when we do this. We'll have building codes, but we can streamline some of the building that we've been doing in the city, and the city's been quite restrictive. And we can start to, look at places in the city like we've been doing, and we can actually implement like places where we can build duplexes, where we can build quadplexes, and make building a little cheaper, so that we have like market housing that's coming in at a lower rate. And so, right. If we can do this like at scale, we can build a city like where everybody has a place that they fit into, if we can coordinate this. And so that's what I'll look to do.
All right. Well, Richie, Floyd, thank you very much for joining us. Running for City Council District 8. Best of luck in August, and we'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I'll talk to you soon.